Mastering effective communication, simpler than you think. Even though I have shared a lot about communication skills, I still often receive questions from young people about this topic. Therefore, today I am writing a summary of an article focused on how you can improve your communication skills in the simplest and most understandable way. Communication is indispensable in anything you do, whether it's at home or in the outside world, at the workplace or in society. Even in jobs that require the least interaction, communication is necessary, as no one can work, live, and go through this life journey alone forever. Sooner or later, no matter what profession you are in, wherever you are, or whatever your desired destination is, you will need to communicate. Especially in the era dominated by social media, when multi-directional information can come from all directions, and each individual becomes a publishing house, a broadcasting station sometimes even more effective than mainstream channels, communication becomes even more important. Lacking this skill, you will undoubtedly struggle to work and progress in your career, certainly unable to lead a team, unable to be a leader, and of course, therefore, unable to succeed. If you can't manage small communication issues, how can you handle bigger, more complex matters that require the participation and cooperation of many people? Therefore, no matter what you do, no matter what your profession or position is, you must learn and practice communication skills to be exceptionally good at it. With this skill, I guarantee that your path to advancement will be smoother than others by 1,000 times, opening up many more opportunities and choices. However, what communication is and how it should be done is not something that everyone understands or knows well enough to practice. For now, let's share and learn a few basic, easy to learn and apply things first. 1. Effective communication starts with active listening. No one can communicate effectively without listening to what others have to say. How can you know what others are saying if you don't listen to them? And if you don't know what they are saying, how can you respond appropriately? How can you connect and continue the conversation or the topic? Therefore, to speak well, you must listen well. Listen carefully, thoroughly, and completely before discussing. Take your time. No one is going anywhere, and no matter is disappearing in haste. If you don't listen or listen superficially, the subsequent exchange will be incomplete, off-topic, or even irrelevant, which can be embarrassing. Professionals don't behave like that. Keep an open mind, listen actively, without judgment, objectively note the information, and fully understand the message being conveyed, without allowing your biases to add unnecessary flavor. Only when we objectively absorb all incoming information can we correctly and objectively evaluate the nature of the problem to provide suitable solutions. Avoid a common mistake many Vietnamese people make, which is defensive listening. This means they appear to be listening, but are actually looking for ways to defend, justify, or excuse themselves for fear of being implicated, responsible, or involved. If you start formulating a reply before fully listening, how can you fully understand what the other person is saying? Sometimes, no one intends to implicate you, but because you don't listen fully, you jump to conclusions, thinking of ways to defend yourself, which only adds unnecessary stress. So hold off on overthinking, relax a bit, and try active listening. You will see that things are not as difficult and complicated as you might imagine. By actively listening, you can avoid many unnecessary troubles. Number 2, nonverbal communication. Communication is not synonymous with speaking. Speech is just one of the communication channels and accounts for only about 25% of communication content. Words can be faked. You can say one thing, but think another. Speak to please someone even though you disagree, or lie and mislead for personal gain. Therefore, words are not always synonymous with truth. However, nonverbal communication, such as gestures, attitudes, expressions, and body language, is harder to deceive. Of course, some masters can still deceive others, but never 100%. Subconsciously, when you think or feel something contrary to your words and actions, your body will always speak up. For example, when lying or not telling the truth, people often look elsewhere, avoid direct eye contact, fidget, or exhibit nervous gestures. By observing discrepancies between speech and body language, you know there's an issue and that what they are saying may not be what they truly think. Observe the other person accordingly and take a lesson for yourself to ensure that when communicating, your message, words, and body language match. Don't think you can say the wrong things and others won't notice. If your words don't align with your nonverbal communication, discerning and skilled communicators will immediately recognize it. Best to speak accurately and truthfully, possibly altering explanations and presentations to suit the situation, but always based on accurate information and data. 3. Keep it simple. Why do we speak? To be heard, understood, agreed with, and cooperated with, right? If so, then speak in the simplest, most understandable, and most executable way possible so that others can help and collaborate with you. If you speak in a convoluted, overly elaborate way, people won't understand, and if they don't understand, they won't know what to do next, making your effort to speak pointless, right? Unless your intention is to confuse and bewilder others for your own reasons, let's not discuss it. Otherwise, if you want to be understood, please keep it as simple as possible. The simpler and more understandable the language, the more effective it is. The epitome of sophistication is the utmost simplicity. The more knowledgeable and wise a person is, the simpler and more understandable their conversation. Those who are uncertain or not well informed tend to obfuscate, using complex academic language to intimidate others, making listeners think they are smart because they don't understand what's being said. There are many such people in the world, so recognize them and, importantly, never become one of them. A good communicator always thinks of ways to make things easier to understand. It might be the same issue, the same message, but with each presentation, they learn to make it simpler and more understandable than the last, continually improving without end. 4. Recognize positive feedback. Immediate defensive reactions should be avoided, but if someone gives constructive, positive feedback intended to help, it should be listened to and acknowledged. No one is perfect at everything. If you were, there'd be no need for communication or interaction. Each person has a different perspective on the same issue, contributing diversely. This diversity and difference foster creativity and development. Positive and constructive feedback is actually a huge contribution to progress and benefits you. So why not embrace it? The more open you are to others' contributions, the more diverse perspectives you will have on your work, making success and effectiveness more likely. Ask yourself, have you acknowledged positive feedback before? Or do you dislike others commenting on your work because you fear contrary opinions or imperfections? Do you get defensive when someone contributes, justifying yourself before even hearing them out? Be honest with yourself. Everyone has these moments, and some more than others. If so, just correct it, because it's beneficial to you. Why not use it? 5. Develop verbal skills. If you want to speak well, to communicate effectively, to engage and cooperate with others, you need a weapon, and that's not just about how you present yourself, but also the words you use. The same idea can require different expressions in different contexts, and for audiences with different backgrounds. Sometimes you need to be serious and professional, sometimes approachable and simple, sometimes emotional and passionate, sometimes just casual, light, and comfortable. Each environment, each situation, each audience, even with the same message, requires very different language. So don't rely on one-size-fits-all communication. It's hard to touch hearts that way. And if you want your language to be versatile and rich, appropriate for the moment, you have to learn. Where? Obviously from books, blogs, reputable websites, and people with good communication skills. You have to cultivate and apply, learning and practicing until you become skilled. Everything requires diligent practice to master. 6. Storytelling skills. Everyone likes to hear stories, and storytelling is a skill. With this ability, you can easily lead a conversation, create interest in listeners, attract followers, and ultimately evoke the necessary emotions in communication. Storytelling is extremely powerful and becomes even more so in the online world. Therefore, this skill needs to be learned, practiced, and improved daily. You can find free courses on platforms like Khan Academy, even taught by Pixar experts. So it's up to you whether you want to learn or not. There's always a way if you want it, so don't make excuses. Finally, practice until you become a master communicator. Just like anything else, repeated practice, making it a habit, ingraining it in your nature, and you will become a master. Remember, this is a basic skill. Without it, social interaction and communication are difficult, not to mention achieving success. joining us on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content.